Thank you. Very important to check the end.
I think now it's recording. Okay. So, yes, well, as I said before, selecting your topic for a research study with examples taken from the diaries, how to shape this topic into a research problem, theoretical frameworks, and literature reviews. Okay, so to start, I want you to consider the way you select a topic for a qualitative study, a qualitative research study. As I said before, as we are dealing with education, most of our studies are in the field of qualitative and not quantitative. However, it doesn't mean that we cannot use qualitative strategies or qualitative methods to complement some of our data. And in that case, we're going to use a mixed approach to analyze and to design the methodology for the study, right? But mainly we are talking about qualitative study, right? So the way you select your topic is, as it says here, look at your daily life. That was the exercise that you did. You have a look at a daily life, a daily class or an experience that you have as a student, right? So in the diary, you wrote things that you are curious about, something that you are curious, what is or has happened at work, missing a T here, that puzzles you, and why are things the way they are. This is what you did in your diary when you wrote all your concerns or things that you find like strange or probably good things that you observe, right? But there are also other sources that can help you to select a topic to do research. And one of them is current social and political issues. You can start a research asking for policies about foreign language in our country, for example, or even in a specific context as the university or the school. You can also have a look at the current social situation, such as opportunities to study, for example. And actually, I am carrying out a study about Saber Pro results with the students from these disarmed areas of Colombia after the peace agreement was signed, right? So it wasn't something that was happening at my daily life, but it was a situation that with a group of teachers we identified that need to be studied. What is the situation of these students that are going to the university, but that come from these zones or areas of Colombia that were immersed in the conflict, right? And what happened when the peace agreement was signed? If the situation changed and how it was reflected in the results of the Saber Pro and what's the name of the other? Saber Pro and Saber 11 tests, right? Or other sources can be literature, which means previous research or a theory in an area that you have read. Sometimes what you do is that you start reading about, I don't know, methodologies or strategies to teach, let's say, grammar, right? And you find something that is very interesting that caught your attention. So you start wondering, what if I apply this strategy in my context with my students in my English classes or any other language, right? So it could be something that is immersed in your life or that comes from other sources such as political issues, social issues, conflicts, and theories in the area. Okay. Any questions so far?
No, teacher.
That's
Okay, so now let's have a look at some examples taken from your reflections. And of course, these examples reflect your daily life. They don't come from other sources, but from your experience, right? I didn't write your names because I thought it was more like it is better if you use it just as examples, and then if you want to say, oh yes, I wrote that, or I identified the same in my context, it could be a good discussion. Okay, so a virtual student wonders, because I took the examples, I just copy and paste, right? I didn't modify anything from the diary. Because taking a virtual class demands your responsibility and autonomy, lots of students do not take the time to study the guides and do not take the number of hours necessary to complete any task. They leave everything to the last minute and hand in mediocre papers. Perhaps if there were some in-person education, the teacher accompaniment will be better reflected on these assignments. So, because of this situation, the student posed this question. Is virtual learning as effective as the classroom teaching, leading to the chance of replacing the in-person education? What topic can you identify in this reflection? Anyone? Hello?
Can I talk? Can I say something, teacher?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, I think what is important to know in this example is that we are talking about autonomy and heteronomy, because
Okay.
the question is totally effective, but it's up to the students if they study, if they do what they need to do, or if somebody have to say, we are adult people, maybe we have a little bit more autonomy, but heteronomy is what is now working or is in young people. So I think is the most important thing here in the virtual student wonder.
Okay, so you say autonomy. That would be a topic that you can start studying. Okay, any other?
Hello, teacher.
Hi, who is
Oh,
talking?
Joanny is talking.
Joanny.
He's going to talk about this topic. Well, I think that is very interesting topic because the student who is the virtual learning, maybe there are a lot of commitments in the real life. So it's important to learn by myself. For example, in my case, I study myself. I studied English by myself because I found easier and it's more important that to go to the classroom with to have an English teacher in front of me to teach me English. So I decided to study by myself, and now right now in this university career, I realized that we have the compromise. Maybe most of people who study in the virtual education is because there are a lot of maybe they have a busy day, so and they prepare their tasks. And maybe when I was reading that's the writing here, maybe they say that there are a lot of people, the mediocre people, maybe because they leave everything to the last minute. And I don't think that the most of people think about that way. I think maybe there are a lot of people that decided to start in the virtual learning because it's more effective. I think because it depends of you, because there are responsible people who is going to pay their own money. Maybe it's expensive because the education here in Colombia is very expensive if you really want to get whatever you want in your life. So maybe in there are a lot of classmates that go to to go to the presential class, that person maybe their parents is going to pay the studying, and they maybe they no, don't pay attention in their class or something like that. So my opinion.
Mhm.
My opinion is that virtual learning is effective in my occasion. I speak for myself.
So what would be the topic to study, Giovanni? Virtual learning, online learning?
Yes, no. Well, here in the university, in the virtual learning is effective for me. Yes,
Yeah,
in this career.
but Giovanni, the question is not if it is effective for you or not, but it is what the research concern could be. How can this virtual student start her research study? What would be the topic? So Felipe said, well, teacher, she could have a look at autonomy, right? Because it seems like, because of what she says here, or he says here,
Yes. Yes, I agree with my classmate, autonomy, because we need to be more responsible.
Okay. Anyone else?
Teacher, now can you hear me?
Yes.
Sorry, I had problems with my microphone. I don't know why.
Don't worry about it.
Okay, I think also we should take in count the role of the technology.
Mm-hmm.
It's completely different when you go to an in-person class than when you do it in the virtual learning.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have the right platform and the right internet, the right place, your learning is going to be lower.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, if I'm in my house and my kids start playing, of course, I'm not going to pay attention to the class in the right way.
Mm-hmm.
And also, if I have problems with the internet, perhaps also I'm going to miss a lot of the class. Or, for example, what just happened to me, I couldn't start my microphone. I don't know why. And I wanted to talk, and there's no way. Like, I cannot start, like, working on the problems that I have with the microphone and also writing to you at the same time. So you start doing a lot of things with your mind, and that is going to affect the way that you learn.
Okay. So another topic sensible of studying would be technology in education, ICTs, right? ICTs.
Yeah, the role of the technology in the education, exactly.
Okay. Let's see another example. An English learner asks, Carol Natalia, can you help me reading, please? Your microphone is mute. Let me just help you here.
Can I read?
Yeah, sure. Who said that?
Well, yes, I remember a place where I studied later. It was really possible to observe a change and development in my communication skill. The way of learning was face-to-face and the other virtual part. In the face-to-face part, I can reduce the fear I feel to communicate with other and another language. In the virtual part, I could learn in different and focused ways besides having the possibility of communication with a native person who was willing to listen and help without recrimination.
Okay.
The question is, how can group learning improve and diminish a person learning?
Okay. So what possible topics can you identify in this piece of reflective paper?
Can I talk?
Yes, sure.
One topic that I can see at the beginning is communication skills.
Mm-hmm. Communication skills, that would be one. Okay. Anyone else?
Group work.
Group work. Okay. Anyone else?
Share ideas.
Sharing ideas. So that would be like in group or
the working in the group. It's possible sharing ideas. New ideas.
Okay.
Ideas.
Okay. Anyone else?
Teacher,
Andrea?
in my case, learning a new language is very difficult, especially because I haven't practiced every day. So it's more difficult work in group because I have afraid
You
all,
are
all time for have a mistake. Listen to my teacher or my classmate. I don't know how to say that.
Helps you or doesn't help you to improve?
Teacher?
Yeah, Giovanni, just let Andrea finish her intervention, please.
Okay, yes, I agree with you.
Okay, work in group is difficult because I don't participate all time for my afraid.
Okay, so what Andrea is saying can be reflected as well here. I can reduce the fear I felt to communicate with others. So do you consider that we can study something related to affective filter? Have you ever studied that? Affective filter hypothesis? From
really.
Krashen, I think, is the author who talks about that. Have you taken this subject? I don't know if what's the name in this licenciatura, but it is well. It should be methodologies, and well, they talk about like theories about learning. You know how we learn, and one of the authors is Krashen, and he talks about affective filter, reducing stress, like fear to communicate, right? And ways to do that so students can learn easier. So that would be another another research concern. You were going to say something,
Yes.
Giovanni?
Yes, teacher. Well, I just want to tell you that first of all, if you really want to improve your English, you need to you shouldn't be afraid of making mistake. Okay, it's important. You need, if you really want to improve your English, first of all, what you have to do is to learn vocabulary. So to learn phrase and verbs, different things that is important. Maybe the connect speech is very important because maybe when you have the opportunity to talk with some native people, they are going to address you in English all time. They are going to talk to you fast. So it's important for you to practice your listening every day. Now, according to the question that say that it's important, maybe the growth or learning of people, I agree with that question because I have some bilingual friends, and we get together on Friday, and we talk about different topics, and that is important. So you need to talk. You need to choose some topic, and you need to talk all the time. You shouldn't be afraid of making mistake. So I was talking with some English teacher last year, and an English teacher, he gave me different advice. He told me that an English teacher can only take you halfway across the bridge, but you have to go to the other ways by yourself. In other words, I mean that it's up to you. If you really want to improve your English, is because you need to practice all the time, and whenever you have the opportunity to practice your English, you have to do it. So you shouldn't be afraid of making mistakes. So many people think that maybe there are a lot of people that maybe they laugh when you have some mistake, and they prefer to be on silent, you know, to remain silent and not participate and not talk in English. So English is very important to talk with somebody else. So nowadays you can find different tools in internet or maybe different app where you have the opportunity to talk with some people abroad. So English is a piece of cake. In this case, I think that if you really want to improve your English, it's up to you, no more.
So the research concern would be like the role of native teachers, or how a native teacher can help you to improve your English level? The role of native teachers? Because remember that we are looking for research concerns, no? We are not trying to give, we are not giving responses or solutions to these concerns, because that's what the student, in this case the English learner, would do during the research study, right? The idea is to try to identify what is the topic that we can start reading about, so we inform our research question. So it could be,
yes, of course.
as you said, it could be like the role of apps or the role of a native speaker or a native teacher during the learning process.
Well,
or
I have to tell
interaction with native speakers.
Well, I'm going to tell you something that in my case, I learned English by myself, because I think that English is a piece of cake. If you like English, maybe what is the purpose of your English? For example, some people learn English because like to travel abroad, maybe to communicate with other people or something like that. In my case, I learn English because I love. So it's different, because there are a lot of people who learn English because they need to work for, maybe to work in the company, maybe it's the requirement that they need it. So when I finish, for example, in my case, I practice grammar, or so on other day I practice any other kind of skill of English. I try to meet different bilingual people here in Colombia, because I think that you don't need to get away from the country to learn English. You will be able to learn English in your own country. So, for example, tomorrow I'm going to get together with one friend of mine. He invited me to have lunch, and I know that we are going to talk in English 2 hours, the different topics. That is a very exercise to improve your English, I think.
Okay, this person says, I remember a place where I studied later. It was really possible to observe a change and development in my communication skills. The way of learning was face-to-face, and the other virtual part. In the face-to-face part, I can reduce the fear, and I felt to communicate with others in another language, and in the virtual part, I could learn in a different and focused way. So I think this person could also study the role of activities, because I think I wrote to this person, like, one of the things I want to say is that in the diaries, I wrote some comments. It is not for you like to answer to me or something, but it is just to make you think more about that specific part of the diary that would help you to identify easier the research concern. For example, I asked this person, what changed, right? Why did, like she says, like in the face-to-face part of the class, she could actually start talking, right? So what type of strategies did the teacher at that time use that helped her? Yeah, and if she identifies that, she could maybe start reading about those strategies and try to post a question in which she includes one of these strategies, right? Next one. Another person, please, that helps me reading.
Okay, let's do this. Another report a student is concerned about. I had some difficulties with the participation in the class. I think that sometimes the virtual classroom allows debate in the participation, or sometimes nobody speaks when the teacher asks something. How to acquire active participation in virtual meetings?
Great. What possible topics could this student start reading about?
Participation, teacher.
Participation, okay, class participation. How to improve or ways to improve participation. Okay, Monica, what do you think?
Teacher, hello, how are you?
Hi.
My English level is still not the best.
Don't worry about it. We are all learning here.
Okay. In my case, I like fun classes, creatives. I learn with things and movies. I like working group. I like make dialogues to practice. I am a preschool teacher, but I don't teach English yet.
Okay.
I like children, toys, movies, sing. So is in my case es más fácil para mí.
Okay, but what topic could you suggest to this person to study? I have some difficulties with participation in class. I think that sometimes the virtual classrooms allow evading the participations, or sometimes nobody speaks when the teacher asks something. How to achieve an active participation in virtual meetings? So Felipe says participation could be one. Any other?
Teacher, me. I have one.
Okay.
The meeting tools task. So for example, we need the best online meeting program so we can complete any task that we are required for. So we need something that allows us to have the connection, the collaboration, the feedback, or something like that. Like, for example, when we work in Google Docs.
So that would be virtual platforms, the role of virtual platforms in interaction, I would say.
Yeah, because and also for the virtual meetings, like if you don't have the right platform and the right program, for example, we won't be able to have like a group session like we're having it right now.
Yes, but I also think something that is really important to say here, that the attitude of the teacher is really important when you are on online sessions, because you have to take the attention of these students that you don't know what they're doing in the other part of the world or whatever they are, you know. So you have to be like practical and the tone of voice, and you know, to catch the attention of the student is really important. And also you can do that with the activities. It depends also of the subject, the team, or whatever you are working on, you know. But I have this problem in my online classes with my apprentices, because it happens at the very first part, they are always very shy, you know. They don't want to speak because they are trying to make mistakes and that kind of stuff. But that's the part that you have to give into them, you know. Give them that confidence, make them feel like comfortable, that you are a person that they can make you feel like you are beside of them, you know, when you are explaining something, or trying to give some samples or activities where you can interact with them at the same time. But what I do, for example, when I am teaching some kind of grammar or something like that, so I say to them, okay, I share a link, an online link with some activities online, and we do that at the same time. So let's start to complete the sentence. Okay, you, Natalia, whatever, I don't know, I'm just making up a name. Can you help me with number one? Yes, so I know that she's over there and she's putting attention, but I am saying, and at the same time, you know, like we are in the same page. That's what I've been always doing these last weeks, because I have this problem with my apprentices, because they didn't want to participate or say something.
Okay.
So I've been trying to.
So your research concern would be the role of the teacher?
Yes, the role of the teacher is pretty important.
Role of the teacher during
The virtual online sessions, yes.
During virtual sessions. Okay. Ivan, you raised your hand?
Yes, teacher. I just want to say that I'm agree with Henry because I'm gonna tell a sample for someone that is here in our class. That's the case of our classmate Dinalda, I think, Andrea. She was taking a class in this university about English, and the teacher and some students just uh, get funny about what the the way she was talking or something like that. Okay, so if you listen at her a few minutes ago, she don't have the words to communicate the what she wants to say, and even when you are here learning, uh, you have to put the attention on your students because the achieve active participation in various meetings is so important if you take the hand of your student. I mean, I'm talking about the English class that she was. I remember that because she, in one opportunity, the last semester, told me about that. So, if you want a person with participation, you have to pay attention, or each of your students, even when someone is better than the other, you have to pay attention both of them because the idea is that all of them learn what are you teaching. So I am totally agree with Henry, and I think one topic to investigation is about uh, how to do that someone that is uh, with some problems to how to say that to to learn the English be it's more about the environment. I don't know if you
Exactly.
understand.
I would say that it is more interaction, and the way interaction is carried during those virtual classes, right? It
Yeah.
doesn't necessarily mean that it is only in the English class, because from this participation that we have here, what I understood is that in any class, people just avoid participating, and it is only when the teacher asks something that probably they are forced to start talking, or even though the teacher asks something nobody wants to answer, even if it is in Spanish, right? Even if it is in
Yeah, teacher. But when I was talking about English class, I was talking about a sample from the real life. And
Mhm.
here in this different class, we are listen the bad product about that bad English class. It's not about the student. It's about the bad. This is the result, or how to say that. Uh, this is the product.
Okay.
Someone that could then speak in a very well way, even when took English class here in the university.
Okay, so we have participation, virtual platforms interaction, the role of the teacher during virtual sessions, and here we have Jose saying autonomy could be also a topic, and Catalina says lack of interest. So she says many students just participate for the grade, but not for what they are about to learn. So it would be like motivation, right? How to motivate the students to participate during the lessons. Okay. Next one. Okay. A dedicated maths teacher wonders, A common difficulty experienced by students with math problems today is the inability to easily connect the abstract or conceptual aspects of mathematics with reality. Understanding what symbols represent in the physical world is important to know how well and how easily a child will remember a concept. And she asks, how to make students make connections according to the context. What possible topics in general could this teacher start reading about?
I cannot find how to raise the hand, you know, where I don't find it.
I think, well, I don't know, because I don't have that option in my
okay, because I don't want to interrupt you or to say
no
without your authority, you know.
Don't worry about it.
Okay, I think.
Wait, just I'm going to say Felipe and then the other person that is speaking that I can't see who that person is.
Teacher, Carol.
Okay,
excuse
Carol.
me.
Just, we're going to start with Felipe and then you, okay? Okay, Felipe, go ahead.
Okay, I think that something that you can infer from that text is methodology.
I share the point of Felipe. Methodology.
Okay, methodology is specific about math.
How to teach.
Symbols.
Yes, about math, of course.
Okay.
Methodology.
Carol?
Because the topic.
Teacher, I think that it's important found the use in the daily life, the use that we can make of these, for example, maths or some whatever, some teacher, excuse me, how do you say cualquiera?
Any?
Whatever.
Any, excuse me, yes. Or any material or for any cause. For any case, it's important if found the use, the utility in the daily life.
Okay, so look at what Carol and Felipe are saying. Both are relating this topic to methodology and methodology related to maths, but a specific methodology that allows you to make connections or to establish connections between real life and the abstract concepts, right? It is not just about finding a methodology that helps me to teach, I don't know, multiplication, for example. Right? But it is finding a way to show the child that a number represents a concept in his or her real life. Okay? So that would be methodology. Any other?
I think the child development.
Who is speaking? Catalina?
Catalina.
Child development. In what sense, Catalina?
For example, we need to know how to deal with the child's brain. So if we know how like the brain works and what is like, I don't know how to say that, like the interactive process that the child is going to take, perhaps we can help him to develop a better way of understanding.
So child development, that would be dealing with psychology and, yeah, psychology. Okay, great. Okay, let's try to move to the other one. It says, an elementary teacher is puzzled about. Diana, can you help me reading, please?
An elementary teacher is puzzled about. I sat down with Jacqueline, Maria Fernanda, Felipe, and Shirley. They work on self-query board and the book on the initial reading that I made for them. Only Shirley advanced in a little. advance it a little. However, it isn't enough to find the minimum goals that she have to achieve. It makes me sad and it worries me because we don't forward like a hope, especially the two children who is repeated this course. What factors influence in the learning of students in the first grade?
Okay. When I read this, and I have to say that I enjoyed reading all the diaries because somehow they all remind me that this profession is not easy, and that we are dealing with people and that we have lots of problems. But in this case, especially, I felt identified because I think we all have those students that they don't, or that they are behind, yeah, and we don't know what else to do and how to help them, right? And probably we are not experienced enough to find the proper strategies that will work with them, or we just don't go to the direct source and ask them, yeah, as Jacqueline, as Maria Fernanda, ask Felipe and Shirley, why are you having these problems? What is it that it doesn't work, right? How do you feel in my class? How many time do you spend doing these exercises or whatever it is? So this student asked, what factors influencing the learning of the students in the first grade? What do you think she should study about?
Neuropsychology.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of problems, like for example, they are not easily detected on kids,
mm-hmm.
and perhaps sometimes that's why they don't do a good job while they are studying. So I think neuropsychology can help to know if they have a problem that perhaps the teacher or the school, they don't know about, even the parents. They don't know about it.
I don't know how much you know about neuropsychologists. I don't know much about that, but remember that you have to keep the topic as close as your practice as you can, right? Otherwise, you will end up learning or studying many things and taking a lot of time trying to do your research study, right? So I would look for the help of a psychologist to help me identify if these students, as Catalina said, have a learning problem or a learning disability, right? Any other?
Well, hello everyone. I'm a mom, and my son is in second grade. As my own experience, sometimes I think the teacher focus to, well, it depends about the behavior of the students also, the aptitude, how he receive the material, the class, and everything, the learning. But I think sometimes the teacher focus in the wrong way with the students that maybe do everything and keep attention of everything. Sometimes I think maybe could be we have to analyze ourselves if this if me as a teacher I'm keeping my attention in the right student, because for example if the student are maybe difficult with the or slowly learning, maybe the teacher focus the attention on the bad students in spite of the other students. So my point is maybe the group is divided. The good students with the regular students or the bad students. I think could be the teacher has to keep the attention of the whole group.
Okay. So what would be the research concern?
Well, I think my research could be why that students that is failing in my course, why maybe in the context, but maybe the fathers, the parents doesn't have time for the kid. I have to analyze many things that maybe occur with the teacher, with the student. Sorry.
So you agree with the student that says what factors influence in the learning?
Yeah, I totally agree.
Okay.
Teacher,
Next one.
can I say something?
Yeah, sure, Felipe.
Teacher, what I have been reading that is that I cannot see if she prepared the class in Spanish or in English. That is not the matter, but maybe it can influence to us. You know? But what I want to say is that the teacher cannot be disappointed because of they don't learn, because I think what she have to look for is the assessment or maybe the curriculum she's applying in her school or his school, because I don't know if it's a girl or a boy. An assessment is maybe one option that she can find for the kids in this case.
Thank you very much. Assessment and curriculum could be topics that she could explore. Thank you very much. Next one. An enthusiastic preschool teacher asks, Patricia, would you help me reading, please? Patricia? This is a way to know who is paying attention and who is not. Lina, would you help me reading, please? Lina, we can hear you. I know that you're... Okay, now.
Now? Are you hearing me, teacher?
Yeah.
Yes, teacher, thank you. An enthusiastic preschool teacher asks, I accompanied them to the music class, and then we put on the chef's costume to make the chocolate cupcakes with arequipe sauce. However, I feel that this type of activities activates more the children of pre-garden. Then, for example, their cupcakes were a disaster. We had to repeat them again, and with the as women teacher, it was complicated because the children didn't pay attention to the instruction he gave them. Okay. What teaching strategies can be done to encourage daily work rules in the teaching learning space?
Okay, so this teacher works with preschoolers in different levels, right? Pre-garden, I don't know what the names are these days for those levels, but she has, or he has, the little ones and then other courses, right? And she's concerned about the little ones because they don't seem to pay attention to the instructions, to have rules in the class, they distract easily, and she finds working with them harder than with the other courses, right? So she says, or she's asking about teaching strategies to encourage daily work and rules in those teaching and learning spaces, okay? So any other topic that this teacher should consider?
Teacher, hi, teacher. I think as a preschool teacher, change the environment, because the preschool teacher should be more active, not boring. Mm-hmm. Because the children are very hyperactive. Mm-hmm. They like playing, singing, dancing. Then how do you say strategies?
Strategies.
Strategies. Mm-hmm. Is change the context. For example, the class should be outside the classroom, not outside, for example.
Okay,
Teacher.
so yeah, who's speaking now?
Teacher, there are a lot of exercises of coordination and attention for music. Tita Maya and Mochila Cantora.
Okay, so you're suggesting like working with music as a strategy to encourage daily work rules, right?
Right.
Okay.
Coordination, attention.
Okay. How to use music to improve orientation, you say, and attention, right? Okay.
Attention.
Any other? So she's now suggesting a strategy. Any other?
I think we have to take into account the time and the hour of the class. And also, for example, if music is first and then music, I think, yes, then to music, and then go to the chef class, and the child doesn't have the time to like breathe because everything is in a rush. So perhaps if the activities were more organized and the time, depending on the age of the child, is considered, perhaps the activity will work.
Okay, so you were suggesting having in mind their age, right? Age and learning. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's just to reorganize the timetable.
Or curriculum, probably?
Or curriculum, yeah, because if they have too many activities, like to activate the child, they will go crazy.
And I think the teachers will go crazy as well.
Of course.
Okay, now, a virtual tutor is concerned about. Luisa Fernanda, would you help me reading, please?
Of course, teacher. Working at midday, sometimes difficult since there are some apprentices that they don't have money to have lunch. So I think it is pretty hard to study without eating something before. However, I explain the activity for the very first hours, and then they start to create a timeline using the simple past tense.
Okay, what possible topics can you identify here? Anyone?
Concentration, it could be one.
Okay, who's speaking? Concentration.
Or focus, not sure.
Henry, yeah?
Yeah.
Henry. Okay, Henry, concentration. Okay, what else?
Teacher, I think socioeconomic condition for studying something. You know?
Socioeconomic conditions related to learning, right?
Yes, learning and for all of them, yeah.
Okay. Anything else? No? Okay, so those were the examples taken from your own reflections. And with all the discussion that we have had, I can say that all of those things are personal interest, are curiosity, doubts, something that is puzzling you in a specific topic, right? However, it is just intuition, if we can just call it like that. You were assuming many things, yeah, such as the right strategy to learn because it worked for me, yeah, but you don't know if it will work with other students, right? You were classifying students in bad, good, normal, not normal students, when we don't know much about that, right? You were suggesting things like, let me see other things here. Right, psychological topics related to the brain that they are not our field, but you think that that could be something that is not right with the child, right? So all of those things are just assumptions, yeah, that comes from your experience, from your intuition. In this stage, with these questions that you post in your diaries, they are not research questions yet. They are just research concerns. You have somehow identified a topic that you would like to study because of these reflections that you made, right? But how to move from those personal interests or from those intuitions into a real research problem, right? Then you have to ask yourself, what do I want to know in this study? So the first step is you start with the general area of interest. Probably some of you already have one, right? Math anxiety, online learning, communication skills, group work, participation, assessment, curriculum, right? But now you need to start reading what is this topic all about. What is math anxiety? What is online learning? What is communication skills? Right? What is interaction? What has been studied in this topic, right? What have some authors said about interaction? What strategies have they applied to improve interaction? How online learning works in different levels of education, right? Many things that you don't know yet about your topic. So you cannot post a research question as such without reading about the topic first, right? Is that clear?
Yes, teacher.
It's clear.
Yes, clear.
Okay. So when you start reading, you can find some key concepts, right? Sorry, some key concepts that will help you narrow the topic to a specific informed question. Do you remember what I said on what an informed question is? We talked about this last class. You know, do you remember what informed question is?
Yes, teacher.
Okay, Catalina?
Yes, it is about to have the acknowledgement about the topic, the narrow, the limits about the topic, maybe the context for the question, maybe that the question could be value, could be a good question. Is to know, is that you say that we need to know about the topic before to make a question. Maybe we need data. We need to specify the group of people that we are going to study or the context. We have to put this in the question.
Great. Informed question means, as Lina said, you need to know about the topic. You cannot start a research asking about interaction without knowing what interaction means. right? But it is also informed in another way, which is that the question comes from a research concern, right? That the question comes from this, that the question comes from your reflections, from having a look at your daily life, from having a look at our social situations, from reading about our area, right? Our discipline. So this is the way you narrow into a research question. When you start reading and when you start understanding that people don't learn the same way as you did or as half of the class does, you start thinking, oh, right, maybe this strategy wasn't the most appropriate when I was doing this and this exercise with the students. And probably I can move to this type of activities or methodology to help my students learn or interact during the classes, right? So as it says here, the research questions reflect the researcher's thinking on the most significant factors to study. It explains specifically what your study will attempt to learn or understand and determine how data is to be collected. As I told you last class, a good research question will give you some ideas about the methodology that you're going to use, the data that you will probably need to collect, from whom, where, of course, the topic that you are going to study, right? So it is important when you start writing the research problem to first introduce the topic. Say, well, interaction is being studied, and according to this author, this and this and this and this, and there are some key concepts that go along with interaction. There are this and this and this and this, and this is what has been studied about interaction, but it is important to keep looking at it because of this and this and this. So you identify a gap, yeah, that it is, and I go back, that it is all of those things that you have identified. Obviously, there is a gap here. Or even you don't know how to do something, students don't know how to do something, the curriculum is not appropriate to the context, something is happening, right? And then you say, well, having in mind all of those things, this is going to be my research question. Okay? Any questions so far?
So teacher, can I say something? Because that was what you already say. It reminds me about the first activity that we did about the diary. So that was the main reason of the diary, that, you know, just to collect experiences, and then we can find the problem over all these things that we brought on the diary. So maybe that's the way that we can start to find a problem, to make a research. That's a good way to do that.
Exactly.
Doing a diary.
Exactly. You don't really need to keep a diary. You can even just observe. Yeah, many of experienced researchers, just they don't go around writing everything that is happening, but with the day-to-day, they start identifying something that is not going well during the class, or probably they started reading. For example, 2 days ago, I received a proposal about what is that? Flip learning, I think. And I have to confess that I haven't heard about flip learning before. So I started having a look at what flip learning is, and I said, well, it could be interesting to see if flip learning could be applied to this and this student, or to this and this context, right? Or you just watch the news and they say that students are not learning English, even though there is a policy about that, about bilingualism in Colombia, or foreign language in Colombia, right? And even though it's been applied since 2000, 9 probably, or 10 or 8. It hasn't worked. Why? Right? You are a university teacher, or you work in an institute. You see students that have studied English since they were 8 years old, and they don't know how to say their telephone number, as I read in some diaries actually. So you start wondering what is happening with our education, right? So it's a student that has been taking English lessons like for 10 years, and he doesn't know how to say 3118129, etc., etc. Right? So the idea of the task was that you could start reflecting about the daily life, and that you could start identifying a research concern, a topic, so you can start reading about it. Because the last task for this class is to present a paper in which you identify a research problem, and you have to pose the question, and you have to include some method. Yes, some theory.
Teacher, it's Lina. Are you hearing me?
Yes, Lina.
Teacher, I have a question.
Yes.
Is related to Henry's topic.
Mm-hmm.
The research questions has to be about teaching English.
No, it could be about learning English.
But it could be related about another. Maybe I have experience being a teacher in a postgrade.
Mm-hmm.
So I can think in topics about teaching in that level, of have to be topics, research questions about learning English and teaching English specifically.
As this is major in English, right?
Okay.
So the idea is to look for topics that are related to the area, right?
Okay, perfect.
I could suggest, because I have also experienced that in the other university where I work, and it is that for postgraduate students, master and PhD, they are asked to have a B2 level in a foreign language to get the degree. I don't know if in your university is the same. I think
no, teacher.
No?
My problem is no. It is no. I understand you. My problem is that I have little experience being a teacher in English. I don't have experience, so I sent you a message by email. I don't know if you could check that.
Yes, that
and because yes, because I told you that my diary was very poor. I couldn't find a problem.
But
so
not really. So I don't know if all of you have already checked.
No, teacher, I didn't check. You told us, but no, I still have not checked your feedback.
I sent to most of you another document. Well, it has your diary and some questions. It is not, like teacher, it is because of this. I mean, I don't need you to answer the questions. Yeah, the questions are for you to reflect, right?
Okay.
The idea of this, and it is in the study guide, it says that you need to work with in groups and make sure that at least one person in the group is a teacher, right?
Okay.
An English teacher, right? If, because it can happen, in the group nobody is a teacher, you can pose questions about learning, because most of you, well, not most of you, but some of you did reflections about the way you learn.
Okay.
Right? So you could even post or, start a research about students from this licenciatura, right?
Okay.
So,
teacher, so the question at the end, or the question at the work are going to be by teams, by groups.
Yes.
So the question are going to be one question for all the group.
Yes.
We have to choose a research question in the group, and we have to work in that question. Okay. It could be yes. In my team there is a teacher, and I think that it is a good idea, because I had been teacher, but in another topics in postgraduate, but in another topics, not in English. So you are right. I don't have topics in that level. So thank you.
Yeah, don't worry about. Yeah, you don't know about this because this is like for week 7 or something. So I haven't make that guide visible, that study guide visible, because I didn't go, you know, little by little, right? But that's why in the task 2 it says choose groups of 3 students, like 3 or 4 students, and make sure that one of you is a teacher.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And remember that the idea is to work with the same group during the whole module, because you have other tasks in group, right?
Okay, teacher, thank you.
Okay, going back to the research question, this is kind of the process that you follow when you want to pose the research question, right? So somehow you select a topic from your reflections, right? From your daily life or other sources, as I mentioned before, lead review or news, political conditions, etc. You read about this topic, you like kind of start a theoretical framework, a literature review, and then you have the research problem. So something that is important is this is not a linear process. This is interactive. In what way? You can select a topic, right? You start reading about it, and then you go to a theoretical framework, but then you go to the research problem and you say, there is not problem at all, because many people have read about this and I already found the solution, right? So you go back to read, or you go back to select the topic, right? So it could happen. And even during the process of research, when you have the research question and you have already established a methodology and you have already started collecting data, when you start analyzing, you see that you need to go back to the theoretical framework because it wasn't enough, right? Or you need to go back to the research problem because the question wasn't that good, so that you need to rephrase it. Yeah, so all the research process is interactive. It is cyclical, but it is also, I mean, you can go from a step 1 to a step 3 and then to a step 2, right? So it's not linear, but what you need to do is read a lot about this topic, right? So the idea is that with these research concerns that you have identified, or probably if you haven't found one, just start with your group, thinking about the topic, and start reading. Start reading about it, right? Start reading about autonomy, about technology in education, about communication skills, about methodology to teach math, etc. Right? So you can start rephrasing and paraphrasing and restating the research question, okay? I think you're familiar what a theoretical framework is, but anyway, I include a reference here. And the theoretical framework is the system of concepts, assumptions, expectations, beliefs, and theories that supports and informs your research. Basically, a theoretical framework will help you to see new ways or different ways that seem to be ordinary or familiar. Yeah, for example, you are very sure about let's say these students that had the difficulty, Maria Fernanda, Shirley, and I don't remember the other girl, Jacqueline or something. So these girls, right, Jacqueline, oh yes, Jacqueline, Maria Fernanda, Felipe, and Shirley, they have a difficulty, and probably you thought, this is probably because they have a learning disability. Yeah, they are, I don't know much about learning disabilities, but you consider that they have one. And you start reading because you think you understand what a learning disability is, because it is something that is familiar to you. But when you start reading, lots of theories, lots of beliefs, lots of assumptions, you realize that you didn't really know what a learning difficulty was, right? So the theoretical framework helps you to see new perspectives of the topic you thought you already knew, okay? Rather than building on concepts, rather than test concepts, rather than say, TBL works, yes or no. No. Rather than testing concepts, what you do is build concepts, right? You start constructing your own understanding of what interaction is, what methodology is, what learning a language is, right? And of course, as the word says, it frames your study. It gives you some limits, right? So I am going to study these and not other things, okay? And finally, you have what a literature review is, which is also part of the theoretical framework if you want, right? And a literature review includes many previous studies about the same topic, but they also include theory, right? So sometimes, well, and when you present a project, the research project, what you have first is the literature review, and then you have the theoretical framework. Why? Because in the literature review, in the previous studies that you start reading, you can identify the theoretical framework. Yeah, so these researchers use these authors, for example, to define interaction. So I'm going to look for the same authors, and then you're going to start building your theoretical framework. I have included 3 links that are about journals. I'm going to, well, I don't know if I do this, what do you see? Is the presentation or Google?
No, the presentation.
Okay, so I stop sharing, and now I am going to show you this. Okay, so I click on the first link, and it took me to this. This is the Colombian Applied Linguistics Journal. This is from Universidad Distrital Francisco José de Caldas, and it's an academic journal in English, actually. It's most about learning languages. And all the research that are published here have been approved by the editors, and you can see that they are indexed in Publindex, Latin Index, Yellow, etc. So you can trust on these pieces of research, right? It is for free. You can have a look at the articles that are being written here. So if you go to this part, you're going to find all the volumes of the magazine, right? You can just I don't know if it has a searcher here. Yeah, let me see if it works. For example, you want to look for interaction. Let me see if it works this way. Yeah, so it will give you all the articles that have been written about this topic, right? Blogging, a way to foster EFL writing. For example, now that we were saying, we were talking about interaction on virtual platforms now. So let's have a look at the PDF. And it will show you the article. right? And you can start reading about this. Look at this, keywords, writing in EFL, blogs, feedback, community, process of writing, scaffolding, right? There is another one.
Teacher, a question.
Yes.
Please. The access to this journal is free.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Then you have profile, issues in teachers' professional development from Universidad Nacional de Colombia. This is indexed as well here, categoría B, in Publindex, right? And you can find it also in Dialnet, DOA, Google Scholar, Latin Index, etc. Also, you can have a look at all the articles. Yeah. Here you have the table of contents. Teacher to researcher, reflections on a new action research program for the university. Transfers, errors, you see, if you are interested in that topic. What else we have here? Curriculum. Unlicensed EFL teachers constructing knowledge and transforming curriculum through collaborative reflective inquiry. What else we have here? Critical incidence of transnational students teaching in Central Mexico. Well, here more things, but I think you also have, yeah, possibility of searching. So I am going to write, for example, ICTs, that is communication technologies. Let me see if it has some articles about that. Yeah, it says, for example, issues in teachers professional and elective professional development proposal for English language teacher. Teaching reading comprehension in English in a distance web-based course, new roles for teacher. You can have access to the PDF. The PDF should load here. Okay. Probably it is my computer that doesn't show it. Let me see if it works like this. Or it is, yeah, it is because I don't have this. But most of you have Adobe. I don't. But yes, you can find the articles. Probably it's going to show the article. Oh yes, yeah, it was loading. Yeah, so you can go and read about that en un curso a distancia. You see, so you have lots of things to see. And the last one is from How Journal. I don't know if I talked to you about this or it was with the other group about Asocopy. Have you heard about that? Have you heard about Asocopy? No?
Not really, teacher.
Okay. Asocopy is Asociación Colombiana de Profesores de Inglés. It's been for half a century with us. 53, probably 53 years. They have a journal as well that is called How. And this journal is indexed as well, categoría C, Publindex. And yeah, same thing. You can search, you have the current issues. Let's check for assessment. And it will show you the articles it has. Influence of strategies-based feedback in students' oral performance, the influence of peer assessment and the use of corpus, learner satisfaction, in 2 foreign languages teacher education, enhancing learning motivation, and concern for improving their pronunciation, etc., etc., etc. Right? So the idea is that you can start reading about the topic that you are interested in, right? Probably because you identify in the reflection during the diaries, or because you have read about that, or because in your school you need to know about that, right? Any question?
I have one question, teacher. So before reading those aids for our research, we must have the question research.
No. Look at this. Sorry. Look at the cycle that I showed you. You now have a research concern. That was what you identified. All of these questions that you posted here, how to make a student make connections according to the context, what factors influence in the learning of students in the first grade, they are not research questions. You haven't read about this topic. Yeah, this is just the first step. You have identified a topic to study. That's what we did in this session, pardon. That's what I said, okay, what can you infer from this? What possible topics could this teacher or this student start reading about? Okay. If you see this, you are just in this step. You select a topic, probably, right? Because I don't know if all of you have identified a topic to study. Now you need to start reading about it. Today you just said, okay, teacher, we can have a look at autonomy. I wrote all of those things: technology in education, communication skills, group work, affective filter, participation, virtual platforms, interaction, the role of the teacher during virtual learning sessions, motivation, methodologies in maths, child development, psychology, assessment, curriculum, influence of music, relationship between age and learning. All of these are topics, research concern that you identify from reading this. But you don't have the research question yet. It is a long process, right? It's not something that, oh yes, I observed this and now this is my question. No, you have to read about that, because most of you have an understanding, have an idea of what interaction is, for example, but you don't have the theoretical support to say interaction is this and I am interested in studying this because this and this and this, right? That's why I am showing you some links, because these are not the only resources. You can also check in the library, university library, of course. You have lots of databases there. Have you ever looked for books or articles in the library, the university library?
No, our library, but in another library.
Okay, so just as a reminder, the university has a library. They have lots of e-books, lots of databases, and you can have access to them. And you have access to them, sorry. It is just cédula and cédula, username cédula and password cédula.
Teacher, La Luis Angela Arango is also free.
Yeah, but from people who are not in Bogota, for example.
But they can log in even though they are outside of Bogota.
Oh, really?
Yes, they have a really good virtual room, and it's like the major library right now for a lot of educational topics.
Nice. I didn't know about Lina. Thank you. So, Catalina, sorry. Your voice is very similar. what? Now you have another source, you see? So nowadays there are lots of places like online where you can search for information about the topic, right? So remember, you don't have the research question yet. You just select a topic, you have a research concern, you are wondering about something, yeah? But you need to read about that something so you can understand it. So you need to have, I am not asking for a huge theoretical framework, but just some concepts that help you to define your research problem. See, this is the last step in this first stage of the research process, right? To be able to write a research problem, a research question. Is that clear, Felipe? Felipe? Hello? Can you hear me? What is happening here? Hello?
Yes, teacher, I can hear you, but I don't know my classmates.
Yes, teachers, I am hearing you. I am.
I can hear you also.
Okay, so well, I don't know what happened to Felipe, who's the one that asked the question, but is that clear? I mean,
yes,
teacher.
What you did in the diary.
My connection broke down, so now I'm here
I was
again.
scared. I said, "Oh my God, I lost my connection. Nobody was listening to me," and I just okay.
No,
In the diary, you wrote some questions. Yes, they are not research questions.
my connection, but I understand.
Okay. They are just research concerns. You just selected a topic, yeah? Now you need to start reading about it to be able to post a good research question. Is that clear? Andrea was asking the same
So
in
it's
the
the first time
No, Felipe.
that I hear about this topic that you are teaching us. Can you hear me?
Yes, now I can. Okay. Is everything clear?
What I say on subject, yes. Can you hear me right now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
But I said.
Now I can't.
No, Felipe has a bad connection.
Study last semester, they didn't teach about you are teaching us this. Now I can understand the first time because I didn't see that I have to study the topic. The teacher only said, okay, you have to formulate a question. And we tried to formulate a question, but I didn't have those bases that you are giving me now to do the things better now, you know?
What subject was that? Was it research or was it methodology? Or something like that?
Methodology. Sí, something like that, the methodology.
But it wasn't research, yeah? It wasn't research
in Spanish.
It was research, but in Spanish.
Yes, but we didn't have the tools for formulate the question as you gave right now to us.
Yeah. But, well, basically, you cannot ask about something without knowing what that something is. No, like how to improve interaction among my students, for example. right? But probably what you don't know is that your students are already interacting in your classes, even if you don't notice, right? So that's the idea. Have a look at your context. That was the first step. That was what you did in your diaries. Now you have identified something, a topic, start reading about it, and then you can post a good research question. I'm going to upload this presentation to Moodle so you can have all the links that I give you. You don't have to check them. It is just a suggestion because those journals are really good. They are the best in Colombia. I missed the one from Universidad de Medellín. The Antioquia, sorry, there is one there. I'm going to try to remember the name of their journal, and I'm going to send you also that information so you can check there. And it is because these journals are specialized in education and language learning education, right? So that's why. But you can check in any library, any database that you want. Just try not to trust in articles that you find in Google, like Del Vago or monografías.com, or someone that just posted a blog saying, I think interaction is this. Not just look for reliable sources, no?
Teacher, excuse me, are you going to share with us the names of the journals in a document or maybe in a...
In the presentation. In the presentation. I'm going to give to upload this presentation, so the links are going to be there for you.
Okay, teacher, thank you very much.
Teacher, one question about the topic we have been studying today.
Yes.
What is the relation between theoretical framework and estado del arte in Spanish?
Literature review. That's the estado del arte, the literature review.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
So there are two things, but they are connected, right? The theoretical framework, as I said, all of the concepts, theories, etc. about the topic, and the literature review includes mainly previous studies, but also theory. Okay?
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Okay. Anything else? No?
Teacher.
Yes. Who is speaking? Andrea.
Andrea. Are you going to review the question until that we have a good research question?
The idea of this course is to help you writing a research question that is good enough to start a research process, right? Maybe you are not going to use the same question during your research project, when you are going to graduate, because of many reasons. Probably people who work with you are not going to continue, or they decided to study another thing, or they are working with other people, right? But this course is designed to help you writing good research questions. So the idea is to follow all of this process, right? Follow all the process so you are able to identify a research question now and anytime during your studies. Right?
Okay.
Of course, there are other topics that we are going to study, such as types of studies, because those are closely related to a research question, right? Types of data collection, how to analyze that data afterwards, but we are not going to do all the research process. We are not going to collect data. We are not going to analyze data. We are just going to post a good research question.
Okay, thanks, teacher.
Okay. Anyway, you can write to me anytime if you have a question, or if you have a problem with any of the of the files that you have there. If you don't understand a piece of homework that you have to present, you can write to me. I have already changed the setting for the quiz. So if you haven't taken the quiz yet, you can do it now. Like, there are 2 attempts now. If you took the test the first time, you can retake it. So let me know if something is not working. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So if
teacher,
yes, Giovanni.
Yes, I have 2 questions. First of all, the first question is, how long does it take this research class today? How long does it take to teach a class today?
Like, when are we going to finish the lesson today?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, well, the idea is an hour and a half, but as you can see, well, there are many questions related to the topic, so I cannot just say, okay, bye, the class is dismissed, but is that.
Okay.
Usually it should be half an hour, hour and a half, so until 9, but if you have questions, so.
Yes, of course. Okay, I have another question, but because I have a doubt about the study guide. So we were talking with my classmate last night, and we're talking about the PowerPoint presentation that we have to publish the next week on October 25th. So the topic are the case study or the action research. Yes, that is the topic. But we will have to publish another PowerPoint presentation on November 1st. But the topic is the ethnography and phenomenological.
No.
Yes, I have that. Is my doubt.
No. Remember that, I don't know if you have, okay, I'm going to stop sharing this. And now I'm going to share the study guide.
Yes, because the type of the study, well, I realized that there are 5 groups, no?
Oops. Okay. Okay, let's have a look at this. So, October 21st, that is this coming Sunday, right? You just have to post the task in groups, and it is about the research articles that are there, and you have to identify research question, objective, and type of research, right?
Yes, I got it.
To November 25th and November 1st, it says students will work in groups to choose a topic and prepare a PowerPoint presentation about one type of research study.
Okay,
so
it's the same. It's the same.
Let me finish. Let me finish, Giovanni, please.
Okay.
So, week 3 and 4 is exactly the same, because in groups you just have only to choose one. So it says here in this in 25th. Is this one? Yeah. There are some groups that present, and in November the 1st there are other groups to present. So if you choose, for example, ethnography, so you have to check if ethnography is on 25th or November the 1st. So you don't have to upload 2 presentations, just one, right? Because there are many groups, so each group chooses just one. During the encounter, as it is just an hour and a half, we're going to have 3 or 4 presentations during week 3 and during week 4. But it is not that you have to choose 2 topics, just one.
Okay, yes, I got it. Okay, teacher, because the next week we are going to upload the presentation, the ethnography. And yes, of course, I have that doubt with my classmate, but I'm going to communicate with them, and I'm going to let them know about that topic. Thank you so much. So, in other words, on November 1st, we are going to explain or to talk in the synchronic encounter maybe the topic that we have.
Yes. It's here. I don't know if you are saying the same thing. I am in Moodle. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. On November, oh, sorry. On October 20, November the 1st, you have the presentations are ethnography, phenomenological, discourse analysis, right?
Yes.
Which topic did you choose?
Ethnography.
So you are going to present on November the 1st, right?
November. Oh, yes, of course.
And
yes, by the way, we
the
were
other
talking.
group, the other groups, which is October 25th, right?
Yeah.
The groups that present that day is case study and action research.
Okay. Yes, they are
Okay.
going to explain this case study or action research the next week, October 25th. Yes.
Okay, October 25th. So we're going to have the PowerPoint presentation of these groups. A case study and action research.
Perfect, it's clear.
Right? And the
Thank you
first,
so much.
the others. Okay?
Okay, perfect, thank you.
Okay, any other question?
Yes, teacher.
Yeah.
I would like to know if could be possible if our attempt for tonight and the questionnaire could have until tomorrow.
Diana, the thing is
Could
that
be?
we already moved it because it was for
yeah,
the 14 or something. So this is the last chance. But it is very easy.
Okay, and the other one?
There are 9 sentences that you have to say true or false, according if it is qualitative or quantitative.
Okay.
And the other one is?
Our presentation, we have our presentation next week, case of study, How long has to be the presentation?
20 minutes presentation, 30 minutes top.
Okay. Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, Diana.
Teacher.
Dario.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna say something that maybe upset someone, but I didn't listen anything what you were talking about because I was in Didactica at the same time and we were talking about the schedule because I couldn't be in this both classes at the same time, and we were making some arrange about that. So I gonna ask you: is suppose that the presentation PowerPoint have a day for each group?
Yes, October 25th, case study and action research. November the 1st, phenomenological, ethnography, and what was the other one? I forgot. And the other one, discourse analysis, I think.
Okay, teacher, as I already told you by message or maybe on the forum, I don't have any group, and the point is that at this time I read that almost everyone work on that, so I don't want to be in a group where everyone work and it's going to look like I just put my name or something like that.
Okay.
So I don't know what to do because if it's the case, I could do my work by myself, but I don't know what to do in this point. I told you that it's not common to me be without a group, but I didn't choose any group or something like that because this week is a different activity. So I don't know what to do.
Let me check. Patricia, are you here or did you just... This is the second time I ask. Well, apparently Patricia wasn't in the class. anyway, the idea was to ask Patricia if she was in a group. If you don't have any group and you need to present the task on October 21st, the task about the research questions that are in the papers that are there, you can do it individually just for this time, but try to look for a group in the with the topics. I haven't seen anyone working on discourse analysis. No one chose or action research.
Yeah, but
So
that's the problem. That's the problem.
yes, so Dario, my suggestion is choose one of them: action research
no,
or discourse
but
analysis.
I am disagree with that because I couldn't. I don't want to choose something that someone led because choose the topic at the first time we started the class. So it wasn't the activity for that week. So if I could do that, I maybe ask some of my partners in other semesters because I lose one semester because I didn't pay. I am jobless, so I can ask some of my partners, hey, what's the topic for that, and I choose it before everyone else, and that's not the idea. So
Okay, I don't understand what you're saying, but I just want to say this. In the study guide, week 2, it says create groups of 3 students. Make sure that in the group created there is at least one student who works as an English teacher in a school, university, or language center. The student in the group created would work together for different activities along the course, right? If you had a group at the beginning, right, you could have worked with them in the presentations because the same group works for all the activities, okay?
yeah, but if you see the forum, all the people in the forum choose the topic the week, the second week, even when on that week wasn't any activity.
Which topic do you want to work?
Phenomenological resource. I don't know how to say that. I don't remember the word.
Why don't you ask the group of phenomenological research if they have a spot?
Hi teacher, we already selected that topic.
Yeah, and the point is that they already work it, so I don't want to be there with them, like I don't gonna do anything because it's not the
Henry, did
idea.
you finish the presentation yet?
But we have already been working with Julian and Lina Senet about this topic. We have been in contact on WhatsApp, and we already shared a document on Google Docs, to start to send like some topics about this main subject, So that's what we have been doing already.
Okay, so you don't have a spot.
Well, we haven't finished it yet. It's just ideas or what are we going to use on the presentation. That's that we have been working on.
So that if you want to join there, you can do that, right? Because they haven't finished and they haven't decided how the presentation is going to work.
Yeah, but he didn't say that. Okay, the point is that.
But anyway, if you don't want to work that, the idea is.
No, teacher. Listen what he say. He said that they didn't finish yet, but he didn't say if you want, come with us. So I understand that everyone already worked it. So I don't want to be in a group like the person that just put the name because I want to work in my I work in my tasks. I work in my activities every single week in every single subject. So I don't want to be in any group like someone that just put the name at the last time. It's not the idea because I choose to be here in the university.
Okay, I'm not going to spend more time on this discussion because it is almost 9:30 and I think all of you are tired. The idea is to select a topic right? If you want to present phenomenological, okay, let's do that. If you prefer to work on another topic, let's do that, right? The idea, if anyone hasn't started working on a topic, remember that action research is there and it is absolutely necessary to have a look at it, because that is the most used type of study in our field, especially in education and especially in English, right? So if you're interested, you can work on action research. If not, you can just do phenomenological, okay? Any other question?
No, teacher.
No?
Thank you very much.
Okay, so remember that the session is being recorded, so if you couldn't attend to the whole session, you can just check all the tomorrow is going to be uploaded there, okay?
Okay,
Yes.
thank you, teacher.
Okay, have a nice weekend. Bye-bye.
Okay, teacher. Have a
Bye.
nice weekend. See you next week.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, teacher. Have a good evening. Bye, classmates.
Thank you.